The Democrat mayor of Oakland warning residents about an impending ICE raid over the weekend. Joining us now is John Yoo, law professor at UC Berkeley and a former DOJ attorney. Sir, what's the legality of this? It's like a state official defying the authority of the feds. What's going on?
I agree, Stuart. Federal officials have a right to enforce federal law. State officials don't have to help them. There's nothing in the Constitution that requires a state officer to help the federal government, but a state officer can't impede them. And they got to be very careful, because the more they try to prevent federal officers from doing their job, the closer they're coming to the federal crime of obstruction of justice.
This is all about the Hispanic vote, all about politics, isn't it?
I think so. I think that, of course, in California, the Hispanic vote is a very large part. But it's not just Hispanics. I think it's also Asians and other immigrant groups. And they want to see immigrants treated fairly, even though they're citizens and even though they went through the immigration process properly.
Do you think that immigrants in California are being treated fairly?
I think the most important thing is that federal immigration law has to be enforced the same way throughout the country. After all, that's what we fought the Civil War over, was that all parts of the country have to obey federal law. Now, the state of California, they can, and even the university where I work, they don't have to help federal officers locate immigrants who are here illegally. They don't have to enforce federal law, but they can't stand in the way and prevent the government from doing its job either. Federal immigration and border enforcement is one of the Constitution's core responsibilities that are given to the federal government.
Do the feds, if the mayor of Oakland is standing in the doorway saying, no, you can't do this, and actively taking steps to stop the Fed doing what is federal law, can that mayor be arrested?
I think that's obstruction of justice. I think if a state officer stands between a federal officer and someone who's a legitimate target of federal law enforcement, that's illegal. To flip it around, the equities of this, that's just like a Southern governor standing in the doorway of a school district trying to prevent desegregation after Brown versus Board of Education.
What a situation. One more for you, sir. President Trump says he's considering pulling ICE agents out of California. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, it's the relationship between President Trump and California. It's like a bad marriage, but you can't get divorced. You can't actually kick California out of the union. President Trump, you know, I can see why he's so frustrated with us and why he would say, well, if you don't want our help, well, I'm leaving. But you have to enforce federal law in California just like it's enforced everywhere else in the country. I have to say, President Obama and the Obama administration tried something like that, and I think it was bad for the state. California, for example, if you remember, legalized, and Colorado legalized marijuana. President Obama said, we're not going to enforce the drug laws very strictly in those states. I think that was a terrible thing for federal law enforcement. So I hope President Trump doesn't make the same mistake.
John Yoo, I sometimes feel that California is a different country. I just feel that way sometimes, and I'm sure maybe you do too, since you live there. John Yoo, thanks for joining us, sir. Much obliged to you. Thank you.
Thank you.